Hi, everyone, and welcome to Danny's Corner. Before anything else, I want to say this. I didn't make this video to go viral. I made it because I needed to say it, because it's something I live, something I feel. Every time I upload a video, I wonder if anybody will stay. Sometimes they don't even make it to the 2-minute mark. And it hurts because I'm speaking from the inside, from a place that doesn't move fast, doesn't shine, doesn't scream for attention. I'm a blind person in a world that worships sight, a world where people say, if I can't see it, it doesn't matter. A world where everything is about what looks good, not what feels true. And I've started to feel invisible, not because I don't show my face, but because the world has trained itself to ignore anything it can't consume in 30 seconds. This is what it feels like to live in a society that believes that seeing is everything, and that if you can't see, you must not have much to offer. But I'm here to tell you otherwise. I made this video because I want you to hear me, not out of pity, not for attention, but because what I'm about to share might help you see things you've never truly seen before. So if you're still here, if your ears are open, if your heart is curious, then let's begin. So let's start. When I tune into YouTube videos or even live television, I keep hearing the same phrase over and over. We're going to watch this clip. Then they play something like Biden talking about the economy, Trump making a statement on housing, or RFK Jr. talking about healthcare. And the host says, again, let's watch. So somebody like me, blind, sits there and says, what are they going to watch? Is it going to be the lighting, the tie, maybe the backdrop, maybe the presidential podium aesthetics? After the clip ends and the commentary begins, I think they're going to talk about those things. Nobody says, did you catch the lighting setup? That shadow work was Oscar worthy. Or his tie screamed universal health care. No. They talk about the words, what was said, how it landed, how it felt, who it hurts, what it revealed. And unless my ears are making things up, which I don't think so, none of what they're talking about was visual. So again, what were they watching? Were they watching facial expressions, hand gestures? Because if that were the case, they would analyze those things, right? But let's be real, political commentators aren't known for their descriptive eye. If I would have wanted somebody to describe what was happening visually, I would have tuned into SNL. SNL once gave me a clear picture of Marco Rubio drinking water awkwardly than CNN did in an entire segment. And don't get me started on the Zelensky sketch. SNL described the room, the chaos, the vibe, better than half the press conferences combined. At least with satire, I get a decent mental image. Commentators, not really. They say, watch this, then spend 10 minutes breaking down what I've already heard. And I don't get it. Why does the sighted world do this? Why tell people watch something and then focus only on what was said, wouldn't it be more accurate to say, let's hear this and then break it down together? Let's talk about language policing. There's one more thing I want to speak on, and something that hits deeper than people realize. And this is the language I use when I say things such as, I saw that movie, or I saw somebody yesterday. And people respond with a chuckle, or even worse, a correction. And people say, don't you mean you heard that? They say, as if they caught a mistake, or as I have stepped outside of my vocabulary. Isn't it interesting that when I use a word or a phrase involving cite, people feel as if I've taken something that doesn't belong to me? They may laugh, they may mean well, but underneath that laugh, there's something quieter and colder. It's as if I'm being reminded, know your place. As if I'm not supposed to use the language of sighted people. As if my world is supposed to be limited, not only by vision, but by vocabulary. But let me ask you, when a sighted person says, did you see what Trump said? Nobody corrects them. Nobody says, don't you mean heard? You get to use visual metaphors, but I'm expected to respect the boundaries. Why does freedom only go one way? Language is meant to connect us, but too often is used to divide, to assign value, to reinforce hierarchy. And I'm here to say I don't need permission to use words, because they're not just yours. They are all of us, all of ours. And I am here to use them fully, completely. Let's speak about the Kennedy debate. There's this famous example of the 1960 Kennedy debate between not only Kennedy, but Nixon. It was the first televised presidential debate in the United States. And what's fascinating about this is that people that watched it on TV said that Kennedy won. According to history, he looked young, confident, charismatic, and Nixon looked tired, perhaps sweaty, uncomfortable. And the people that listened on the radio, they said Nixon won. He sounded experienced, calm, presidential. There were two groups, two senses, two different truths. So my question is, who was right, the watchers or the listeners? In a sighted world, people take sides. But what if this is like the story of the blind man and the elephant? Each man touches a different part of the elephant. One touches the trunk and says, it's a snake. Another touches the leg and says, it's a tree. Another touches the tail and says, it's a rope. Another the ear and says, it's another part. Another part of the elephant and says, it's another thing. But only when they all get together is when they discover that they were all right. And that's true with people. Maybe the watchers caught something that the listeners missed, and maybe the listeners heard something that the watchers couldn't see. Maybe together, that's where truth lives. But we've been trained to value one angle, which is the visible one, the polished one, the surfaced one. And when you elevate only one sense, you miss the other ones. You lose depth. You lose meaning. Let's talk about the white cane now. As you know, I carry a white cane. It is my guide, my tool, my way of navigating a world that was not made for me. But I was taught something early on. Don't lean into a cane because it was not built for that. It's there to help me move, not to hold me up. If I lean into it, it will snap, break. And that's exactly what society has done with cite. You've leaned into it too hard. You've asked it to carry everything. And now it's cracking because you depend on your eyes for truth, for trust, for beauty, for status. You have put cite on a pedestal. You've worshipped it. You say you're not religious, but you have made vision God. You've prayed to pixels. You've sacrificed to peace. And you without realizing it, you fast from silence. Again, I repeat, you sacrifice time and peace at the altar of good. And in the process, you've forgotten how to listen. You've forgotten how to taste deeply, how to breathe in scent, how to feel truth in your fingertips. You've numbed your fingertips and you call that normal. And you call me that you're dismissing something. But I ask, who's incomplete? We confuse stillness with boredom, but stillness is not emptiness. Stillness is not laziness. Stillness is an offering, a chance to actually hear someone, to feel what they're seeing, but we've lost our taste for that. We want stimulation, we want fast, we want now. And when you're blind, such as what I am, we live in a world that was not made for stillness. We live in a world that was made for color, flash, in a world that assumes that if it can't be seen, it may not be for much. If you've stayed this far, I want to thank you, not because you've gave me your eyes, but you gave me much more rare. Your ears, your time, your stillness. I may not see the world the way you do, but I feel it, I hear it, and I live the world fully, perhaps much more than you do. And I hope that what you can take away from this is that you may be able to listen more deeply than you have been doing now. Thank you for watching. And I tried making this video a bit differently, a bit more scripted, because sometimes words do fail me. And I hope you enjoy it. Please make sure to subscribe, to share, and to like this video. Thank you very much.